All right, and we are here at Conversations with Strangers, and today we are here with
Rose Baker.
All right, Rose, tell me a bit about yourself.
Well, I'm from Memphis. I'm 26 years old. Yep, 26. I live with my good friend Josh and my two cats, Frankie and Leo, and the dog Snoop. I love music. I love art. I love traveling. That's a cliche response, but I do. Yeah, good to know.
Now, cat or dog person?
I've grown up with cats, so I'm more familiar with them, but I do super love dogs too.
Okay, so there isn't like a favorite one way or another, you know? If the house is burning, you only get to pick one.
I guess cats. I would save them all from the burning house, but if I did have to choose a favorite, I would say cats, just because I am more familiar with them. And so, like, the training is easier, the caring for is easier. But I do love dogs.
Okay. Now, I've tried to come up with some questions to kind of regularize this concept, but I'm a little, I don't remember all of them, but one of my newest ones what are you passionate about?
I am passionate about trying to figure out how I can say this without coming across as really cheesy, but spreading kindness, if that makes sense. Because I know in my moments where I've been really down, small moments of kindness from other people has really gone a long way. And so I try to generally be a positive person. If that's the only thing I can contribute to the world, then I feel like that's still meaningful.
All right, so just like spreading kindness, like, is that something like, I mean, obviously there were situations where others have, returned this favor to you. Like, is there one that like really stands out?
That someone else has done for me? Yes. I'm gonna try and talk about it without crying, but basically, last year I found out that my mom was sick. She had terminal cancer. And I went to go buy tissues because I was crying a lot. And so I went to Walgreens to buy tissues. I was with my sister. And because I was feeling down, I wanted a snack maybe to help me cheer up. So I got a vanilla Coke and a box of Cheez-Its because those were my two childhood favorites, and the box of tissues. And when I got up to the register, my card was declined. I didn't have enough money. My sister did not have money. And the cashier just absolutely did not hesitate to break out his wallet and pay the $7 or whatever it was. And so that was a really small thing on his part, but it made a world of difference to me. I don't know. Because in grief, or the pre-grief, I guess, of finding out someone is sick, it can be a really like isolating feeling. You feel very alone. So I don't know. That is something I still think about a year and a half later. On Thanksgiving, I saw him again, and he said his wife had been out of town for the holidays, and he hadn't even had a slice of pie for Thanksgiving. He didn't have any holiday food. So I brought him a pumpkin pie from Sprouts in my attempt to return the kindness. And I don't know, it was cool to see that kind of come full circle. I don't know.
I was going to ask about the return of the favor. Like, have you returned it in any other way? Is there any other moment that you were just like, I'm just going to pay for this person's, drink, food, whatever? Was there a moment like that recently or in the past?
I know I've done it before. I've definitely done, the whole Starbucks thing where you pay for the person behind you or whatever it is. The one that I can think of recently was I was in an Uber going home. My car is in the shop right now, so I took an Uber home from work, and the driver was super nice. We were talking about all the nonprofit work that he does, but we realized soon into the ride that he had a flat tire. And I kept telling him, like, you can pull over here. Like, the neighborhood where I live is not very safe. And so the last place you want to be changing a tire late at night was, like, my neighborhood, to be honest. But he took me all the way home. And then I went inside, got my tools out. And neither one of us had ever changed a tire in our lives. But together, we got it done. And at the end of it, it'd been like an hour and a half. We finally got it done. And I went to go shake his hand. And he didn't have a right hand, or it was not a way that he could shake my hand, which I had not noticed previously. I mean, he was carrying on like it didn't matter, which, it doesn't. But I don't know. That was a feel-good moment for me, I guess.
Now, you say you've never done that before, but you have the tools, so where did the
Well,
tools...
it was just regular old tools because he had the stuff to actually get the sockets or whatever you call them off. But some things had rusted and were together, so I went to go get a hammer so we could like hammer pieces of it off. And then part of the tool was like a broom, so we could get like the tire released underneath the car. And so the two of us are just looking crazy. I've got a broom under the thing, like trying to get it out from underneath. So
Get her done mentality?
get her done. We were going to get that done. It was, I think, like 10:30 at night by the time we finished.
Oh,
and my
gee.
bedtime is 8 o'clock.
All right. What's your favorite movie?
My two favorites are Pulp Fiction and Fargo. Those are my two. And I also super love the movie Ray, actually, with Jamie Foxx.
What draws you to these movies?
I've always liked dark movies, like shoot 'em ups, people dying, blood, gore, that kind of stuff. And I love the Tarantino in Pulp Fiction, and then in Fargo, there's a lot of that dark mixed with humor. And then Ray I just love because I like Ray Charles. And that was actually a movie I watched a lot in my grief, and for some weird reason, it still brings me some kind of comfort. I don't know.
How did you get introduced to Ray Charles?
Well, living in Memphis, you hear a lot of that kind of like blues and soul kind of music, and it wasn't until I was in college that I really started listening to him. And, just put him on Spotify, I would just play his top hits over and over, and that would be my bus jam. So I'd just be riding the bus home, jamming out to Hallelujah, I Love Her So. Just still one of my favorite songs.
Is there a favorite? Like, there's just one that's just like, this is the one they're going to play at my funeral?
I don't know well, it's not by Ray Charles, actually. The one that I would want played is by Leanne LaHavis. It's called Good Goodbyes. She's one of my favorite musicians. She's a British singer-songwriter type. She's got this real high, sweet voice, and she does, for the most part, kind of, not slow, but I don't know, it's hard to explain. But she's my favorite forever.
See, we talked about music. We are outdoors at a beautiful park. Are you an outdoor person?
Sometimes. I'm mostly like an indoor on the couch with the pets person. But I do love to get out. I love to walk the trails around here. I especially love it here because you can walk around and be in this wilderness and then come out, and then there's a concert going on here. You can go into the museum. But I do love nature. I just don't go out into it all that often.
Now, is Memphis a very nature-y place? I know, I think it's east is the mountains.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, is it just because there's not a lot to do per se, or is it just you've kind of developed this lifestyle as you get older of just, I'm tired, I'm home, I'm sitting on the couch?
I've been a couch potato my entire life, so that is just what comes naturally to me. Venturing out into the outdoors was a new concept for me, in college, really. Memphis does have a lot of outdoor activities to offer, though. We're not, hilly like East Tennessee is. We don't have the actual mountains to climb, but there are a lot of great things to do here. The trails here at Overton Park, and then Shelby Farms, of course, has many trails you can explore. You can go out onto the water. And so there are activities you can do. It's just not necessarily hiking up a steep incline. Though the hiking is really not all that far from Memphis, if you're willing to drive a little bit.
Now, we live in a round world. Where else would you like to go?
Well, in November, I'm going to Paris, which I'm super stoked about. I'm really excited. I would love to go to South America. I would love to go to Asia. The only place I've been outside of the country is Italy for 3 weeks in college. So I'd go anywhere.
Do you know where the best place in Paris is?
I don't know. Do you have an answer for that?
I have a quote, and I'm sorry I don't remember the gentleman's name who said this, but he was a very bitter, angry, I believe, person from Paris who said the best view in the city is from under the tower because it's the only place you can't see the bloody thing. So just food for thought for when you're there.
Thanks. I'll have to check out the underneath of the tower.
My mother went. She loved it, but she did not get me that under the tower photo. And every photo, there's tower, there's tower, there's tower, there's tower. It's inescapable. So when you're, home alone and it's late at night, like what do you think about?
Think about like what I want to do or who I want to be, because I'm still kind of figuring that out. Think about my mom. And well, it's funny you ask that. I've realized recently that actually I tried to drown my thoughts out when I'm going to sleep. And so I'll put on a TV show I've seen a million times so I can listen to that while I'm going to sleep, or I'll put on a podcast and fall asleep to that, because I think my grief keeps coming up, but especially like right after my mom died, I couldn't stand to not have something playing when I went to sleep, because of course my thoughts would go to her and I would be sad and cry, and it would be hard to go to sleep. And so I don't recommend avoiding your feelings. Like, I do make time to think about it. I just kind of set aside time for that. Which it's weird to say to schedule your grief, but your girl needs her sleep. I can't be up all night.
Could you be up all night in the past?
Say what?
Could you be up all night in the past?
Oh, yeah.
Those wild college days?
Oh, yeah. I don't party anymore, but college Rose certainly did. Or actually, like 2 years out of college, Rose certainly did.
Now, I kind of want to go to this grief topic. Just
Yeah, sure.
Not that it's a bad thing, but it's just like, did you talk to anybody about it? Did you seek out guidance from other people about how do I deal with this? I mean, we talk about movies. I mean, there's that famous scene in Fight Club where the guy's like at the cancer survivor grief thing in the meeting and everything. So anything kind of like that?
I tried a bunch. I went to a grief counselor here in Memphis, and so she helped me. I started seeing her 3 months after my mom died. And so she walked me through, the first like 6 or 7, 8 months after that. And then I also did a group counseling thing, and that was really cool. I actually found that to be the most beneficial for me, because it got me connected with other people when I was otherwise tempted to isolate and just be home alone and wallow. So it got me connected with other people who still mean an awful lot to me, even though I'm not in that group anymore. And it offered me a way to, in some way, like help them with their problems, which got me out of my own head and stop thinking about my own problems in a healthy way. Because of course, again, I don't recommend just ignoring your grief, because it will come back later, I think. So, and I found those to be really beneficial.
All right. Was there any one like aha moment for you during that?
No, not at all. I think I was hoping for that. I think I was hoping for the one day that I would just wake up and be, oh, it's okay. It's definitely been a slow process. You notice it, incrementally along the way, like whereas before I would wake up in the morning and the first thing I would think about would be my mom. But then, after a while, maybe it's only a couple of days out of the week. And then, now it comes up every now and then, and I take the time to address it when it does, but it doesn't dominate my thoughts, if that makes sense.
No, I've been through the similar process, and yeah, it's just like time. It doesn't exactly heal the wound, but it's just, you got to keep on living, basically. Yeah.
And she would want me to keep living,
Yeah. I would hope so. That's, generally parents love their children.
Yeah.
Not always, but 90% probably in that range.
Yeah, she definitely did. She was a good mama.
Okay. Is there anything, what was your favorite thing about her, I guess?
She was the sweetest, kindest person I ever knew. Probably have ever known, honestly. She loved everybody. Anytime I brought friends over, they felt at home immediately. They would call her mom after meeting her one time. And she also had a green thumb. She always kept beautiful gardens at whatever house we were in, which came from her growing up on a cotton farm. She picked cotton with her family growing up right outside of Friendship, Tennessee. And so she had a green thumb, and she was real hardworking about it, and just always sweet and humble and welcoming. Hard to know.
Sorry I didn't get a chance to meet her.
Yeah.
So I try to wrap these up with ask me a question.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering if I'm supposed to be asking you questions this whole time.
The one question at the end.
Okay. Who would you most want to have on a segment of Conversations with Strangers?
Well, the guy that I'm ultimately giving these to, he's just like, get somebody, famous or more well-known. And I'm like, that's not 100% the goal of the project.
Okay.
Like, on the one hand, yes. I mean, I reached out to the Memphis filmmaker guy who did Hustle and Flow. Never heard nothing, but, I kind of expected that.
Yeah.
But he's not really, like, I don't want anybody particular. I want normal people. I'm not looking to meet the president. I'm not looking to meet, this great basketball player. I just, the whole thing is based around this idea of Sonder, which, did I explain to you Sonder before? Yeah. So it's just like, I'm just trying to bridge this gap between people. There isn't a person. There isn't, one specific thing. Although, in saying that and thinking about it, okay, transgender. Because I try to go man, woman. Let's try to get a in-between in there, just, because I haven't done it, I haven't tried it, haven't even thought about it till this moment. So I guess that's on my list.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. And that is another episode of Conversations with Strangers.